Bert! Get him! Yeah! Ron Babe was right.
I'm feeling spry. Hey everybody, it's Ron Bain with the Hunting Dog Podcast. It's the 2nd of February, and if you didn't hear the bad news, no, it's not about my knee. Everything's going about as scheduled with my knee. That silly-ass groundhog over in Pennsylvania saw his shadow, so we're in for 6 more weeks, okay? Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. But, boy, I would have loved to hear him see a cloudy day and not seen his shadow and just have some newscaster just say, looks like we're going to have an early spring. 'Cause I can't take much more of this cold. I can't take much more of it. Before we start, I got to thank the companies always that support this show and the dogs and the people and the habitat and everything we talk about. And, of course, the title sponsor of this show is OnX Hunt. And, of course, you can get 20% off OnX with HDP20 if you're going to renew yours, if it's up for, if it's going to expire, if you're brand new and you've been putting it off, which I really doubt that exists out there in our world. But they've got a lot of layers. They've got a lot of, it's not just for hunting, it's for everything. Kind of like Gunner Kennels, it's not just a transportation kennel. They have beds, they have bumpers, they have bowls, they have vests. All my sponsors, Garmin, they don't have one collar. They've got a collar that fits every need and everything you need for training, tracking, and taking care of your dog, just like Canine Athlete has various products for your dogs and for you. Now, everybody can get 25% off Canine Athlete's first-time purchase with the promo code Canine Athlete. Really hard to remember, isn't it? Canine Athlete. And so don't forget. Now, if you're a patron, now there's a bigger discount. Now, that's just the way it is. Mossberg, I can't thank them enough for everything they bring into the shotgun world. They've got every size, every model, every SKU, every length of pull, from kids to, they got one big enough for my 6'7" grandson. He's not 6'7" yet, but his dad is 6'7". In fact, I've got a very old Mossberg pump shotgun that a friend of mine gave me, and that has got such a length of pull on it that is already earmarked for my grandson. Boss shot shells, it's not a one-trick pony. Look what they've been through. They went through the bismuth, now they're in a copper, now they're improving the copper. I mean, it never stops. All these sponsors are doing everything they can to keep coming up with things for you and your dogs and your trips and your hunts, everything you do. Purina, they've never stopped. They've got whether it's adult, senior, active, sedentary, they've got a dog food. Now, of course, I feed Purina Pro Plan 30/20 because that's what all my dogs are on. But they have got something that's just like all my spots. It's not just one thing. Pike Gear. Have you heard that name in a while? You haven't, have you? Well, Brent is back, meaning Pike is back. Pike Gear. They are back in the sponsor lineup, and I am so glad to have them. In a couple weeks, Brent's going to come over here with a bunch of new products. Again, not a one-trick pony. No. Always improving, always coming up with something that we need. Isn't that terrible? All these companies come up with something that we find out that we need. But that's good. That's good. Now, Arxis USA, they don't have just one or two rubber boots. It's not just a one-size-fits-all. They have women's, they have men's, they have high, they have low, they have zippers, they have wellies, everything you could possibly need. And the beer company that sponsors my liver, of which I've really had to cut back because I'm on a lot of Tylenol for my knee, and I was on some hydrocodone or something like that. So it's the first time a barrel of Watermark beer has lasted more than a month in this kennel. But I cannot wait to go down and pick me up another barrel. Right now I'm drinking Bodega, their Mexican lager. I'm telling you, if you're anywhere in Southwest Michigan off of 94, you got to stop in and see Watermark Brewery. We're definitely, and I said this before, it didn't happen. That's on me. We are definitely going to have some kind of an event down there for listeners, possibly some RGS, PF people, backcountry hunters, all that stuff. We're going to have an event this year at Watermark, but I am going to wait until we can be outside in the lawn with our dogs and our cigars and our beer. And I will get back to Backcountry Preserve one more time this year. I talked to Kenton, and I said, I know that preserve season lasts until like middle of March, and I think I've got to have enough leg power by then. I'm working on the leg power. I'm going to PT twice a week. It's grueling. It's grueling, but I'm going to make it. I want to have a better season next year than I had this year, and I can do that with my physical therapy, and you can do it with all of our sponsors, from Onyx to Gunner to Garmin to Canine Athlete, Mossberg, Boss Shot Shells, Purina Pro Plan, Pike Gear, and Arxis Boots. So there. That wasn't so hard, was it? 5 minutes? Come on. Now, tell me the truth. Write me an email. You guys all have my email. You could write a comment in iTunes if you want to. Do you want me to interrupt a good conversation about dogs and people and places and guns with mid-roll and mid-roll and mid-roll commercials? Or could you just bear with it for 5 minutes and not skip it and say, like, oh, yeah, at least Ron changes it up every week. It's a little different. You know, would you rather me just have, like, hey, everybody, it's Ron Bain with the Hunting Dog Podcast, and here is this week's episode, and then 5 times throughout the episode have a pause, an awkward pause in the middle of someone's conversation? No, I don't think you do. But you know what? If you think I should, you could be my editor, and you can figure it all out, because I won't do that to you. What I will do to you is bring you the best episodes I can that are all about, well, everything we love. Everything we love, except the weather, which we can't do squat about. All right. Hey, hope to see you at Pheasant Fest. This episode is with Jared Wickland. We talk a little bit about our seasons and a lot about Pheasant Fest and why we do what we do. And this is one of the things, whether or no weather, I'm going to be up there in Minnesota, and I'm going to be at Pheasant Fest. We're going to be over. In fact, this year we're going to be over opposite corner of where we're going to be by Women on the Wing. And in fact, next week you're going to hear. See, there I go. There's where I add that 2 minutes of blabber for no reason. Anyway, enjoy the episode, because I know you're not enjoying the weather. Love you guys. Love you girls. I love you patrons even more. All right, everybody. This is an official 2020. I'm going to start that over. This is an official 2026 pheasant, quail, sharptail recap, and a unabashed plug for Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever, the big fest coming up. Pheasants and Quail Forever in Minneapolis. I got Jared Wickland on the phone. I was lucky enough a few years back to hunt with Jared, so first thing I'm going to do is I want to hear all about Pheasant Fest and some of the new stuff going on, Jared, but first of all, my favorite place that you took me to that had sharptail pheasant, woodcock, and grouse. Is that place still exist in Minnesota?
And black bear.
And black bear. That's right.
We found one of those too.
We found a dead black bear.
yes, it does. I think I actually haven't been back to that place in probably 2 years now. Yeah. I've just found enough grouse up in Northwest Wisconsin up at our cabin that I like to just kind of roam around there. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really good season. And but yes, those places still do exist where you can get into. And I think that's the beauty of Pheasants Forever is that was a land acquisition that we did that you're referring to. That's got all those different species on it and more. So
yeah, that was obviously. When I was following you up there and you had saw sharptails, I saw the pheasants, and I'm like, where are we going? I thought you said we were going to grouse and woodcock, and then we're in grouse and woodcock territory. Then we find a black bear. So obviously it's good bear country.
That was early October, right?
Yeah, it was early. It was pretty nice weather.
Before pheasant even opened up, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Minnesota, we don't want to try to hotspot it, but maybe it's because Pheasants Forever is based there. I doubt if that's the real reason, but people don't realize how good Minnesota is.
Yeah, I think
people know, but
it's not like all the articles and all the podcasters are talking about Minnesota until now.
Yeah, I feel blessed to live in this state. Just being an outdoorsman. I think a lot of people, if you've never visited here before, number one, our funding mechanisms for conservation in the outdoors are pretty unique. We've got a portion of state sales tax that we voted on back in 2008 goes into a big fund, the outdoor heritage fund. Clean Water Land and Legacy Amendment is what it was
Right.
called, and Pheasants Wear was behind that big push, along with all sorts of other groups. And we fund conservation at $150 million a year in the state. So the northern forest zone, you've got grouse. Like, I only have to travel from the Twin Cities. I can travel 40 minutes and be into them pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that extends all the way up to the northern border, up to Canada.
Yeah.
You've got sharptails mixed in with that in a couple different places, east central Minnesota, and then sort of northwestern. We've got a prairie chicken season as well. That's a draw that I drew a couple years ago, and then I had something happen where I wasn't able to actually fulfill that tag. But they've got prairie chicken in sort of western Minnesota, and then pheasants are all over the state. They're even going further north now as sort of the climate has changed a little bit, and anywhere you have crops integrated in with prairie,
Yeah.
pheasants have started to fill that niche, which is pretty cool.
It's kind of funny. I don't know anybody that calls them an invasive, but it's certainly a non-native species. But pheasants are like white-tailed deer.
Hmm.
If there's some food in a place to lay an egg,
Yep.
they're gonna figure it out.
All they need is a little bit of opportunity. It's funny you brought that up because I was actually on the Backwoods University podcast with Meat Eater and Lake Pickle
Yeah.
a couple months ago now, and we were talking about the pheasant and just the history of them. And
Yeah.
really, it bugs me when people are like, "Oh, they're invasive species." Like, no, they're non-native, and they've just turned into an icon of the Great Plains and Midwest. And
Yeah.
anytime you do great things for conservation, focusing on water quality, could be river and stream buffers, it could be CRP, restoring a field health, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Pheasants are just sort of a byproduct of that. And I think they're well, I'll say king of game birds, but that's probably up for debate with the
Well,
with the rough grouse.
yeah, we don't want to ruffle the rough grouse society.
That's right. That's right.
We're all in the same game together.
Yeah, we love all the birds, so it's all
I
good.
cut my teeth in Illinois on pheasants, and it's always been it doesn't matter if I see a lot of birds or I don't see a lot of birds. Like when I'm driving, even in Michigan, when I moved here, we still had a handful of pockets with some wild birds, not like I think about 6-8 miles from my house.
Yep.
But when I go out west, it's like as soon as I see either a dead bird on the road or one scooting across the road, I'm like, they're here. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Pheasant country.
you could drive in a lot of states, you don't see the game on the roads. When you see the game on the roads, there's game. And like the pheasants, if you put your mind to it, it's almost like they never disappoint. They got up and down years, but and you guys have done so much with Onyx and Purina, and it's amazing how much Pheasants Forever. It's kind of like it's like you're the bird mafia. You dip your beak, you dip your beak
like
into
that.
a little bit of everything, just
Yeah.
to make sure we got something to chase. And but yeah, Minnesota, I've only hunted it like twice in my life, and it's kind of like I keep going through it. And one of these years, I just got to just say, like, look, how about only a 9-10 hour drive this year and just explore Minnesota? I've got to do that. I've got to
Yeah,
do
that's the thing. Like, you and I have been talking just before even the show here, is like, I live in I don't want to say the northeast metro region, but like I have 10 acres. I backed up to a 500-acre wildlife management area. I manage for grassland for pheasants on my little property and try to help my neighbors out. I've
Yeah.
got 30 to 40 birds that are roosting in the cattails out back here every day. I get to
Yeah.
shoot a handful of roosters. So it's like they're all over the place. And I don't necessarily like sort of like fishing, right? Like leaving fish to find fish, like leaving birds to find birds.
Right,
I love
right.
going to South Dakota. I love going to Iowa. I love going to all these destinations. But I also like my time too right here in Minnesota, because getting out and chasing pheasants here, if you haven't done it, there's a lot of different habitat types,
Yeah.
all the way from like Hinckley, Minnesota, which is like east central, just all the way down and west,
Yeah.
west and south. You can find pheasants in all those pockets, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's something. Yeah, I kind of like. I got a little bit of shame on me for always skipping over or driving
Yeah.
through. You know.
Well, you just got to call me like you did last time, and then we'll go.
You know what? With this new bionic knee I got installed, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be a hunting. I'm gonna be a hunting son of a gun.
Robo Ron.
But how I haven't talked to you in a while. What's your dog situation?
I ended up losing my pointer Jackson here, just
Oh,
before Chris.
the one I
Yeah,
hunted with you.
yeah, pointer just
Yeah.
before Christmas,
Yep.
and it was a pretty emotional deal because he wasn't eating anymore. There was something going on in his stomach. He was close to 14. Like
Mhm.
as English pointers go, I would say that's pretty old for an English pointer,
Yeah,
because they just beat the hell out of themselves, pheasant hunting, grouse
they
hunting,
do.
all those different things. And you could just tell like he was starting to get in a little bit of pain. So there was some other stuff going on too. We just made the decision that we got to do what's in his best
Yeah.
interest. But I was able to take him out for a 10-minute hunt, just before Christmas. And I shot a final bird over him that he pointed. It
Nice.
was, yeah, it was pretty emotional. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I've still got the lab Luna. She's going to be 8 years old here, in September, and I'm just really looking forward to the 2026-2027 season, because she's in her prime right now, and everybody's sort of got like that's the dog, that you go out in the field with, and you're like, you're not gonna no piece of grass left unturned. She's kind of one of those. Works really
Yeah.
close. I love her for grouse. I love her for pheasant. I love her for
Yeah.
the old timber doodle, whatever it might be. So that's kind of my dog situation right now.
Yeah. Are you thinking of getting another? I mean, I would imagine at some point you'll add another one to the
Yep.
roster.
I think we're gonna take a break just for a little bit. Well, we've got a number, like everybody knows, like you go on vacation and try to do things, and you got little kids and sports and all that other stuff. It's like,
It ain't easy.
yeah, trying to kennel them up and stuff. So I think we're going to take a break for a little bit, and I'm slowly working on the wife to,
Yeah.
when can we pull the trigger on the next dog, So that's a daily conversation. I try to bring it up.
That's something you massage into the conversation. And
Correct.
right.
Correct.
You,
Yeah.
you never say no, and you're like, hey, I saw this guy was breeding. I'm thinking like maybe it just kind of throws little tidbits out, test the waters a little bit.
Yep. And I'm trying to decide, like, do I having an English pointer and having a lab just, a few months ago was like, it's the best of both worlds. Like early season, I like using the pointer when there's a lot of leaves in the grouse woods and other stuff
Mhm.
like that. Later in the season when the leaves go down and it's getting cold outside, the lab is 25 yards and in, and quarters nice. Like
Right.
they all have different functions, I guess. So I'm
Right.
kind of thinking like, can I work my way back into getting another pointer? So we'll see.
Well, and the other part of it is if let's say you said, no, you know what, I'm going to get another lab, because certainly you can do all this with labs,
Mhm.
springers, cockers, you can do, I don't care what dog you have. If you put the miles on and you learn a little bit about habitat, you can have a collie and shoot birds,
Pretty much. Yeah.
In fact, there's a guy named Gerhard Stevenson who wrote some articles for Pointing Dog years ago, and he had like a little border collie, and he went and shot all the species of birds, with a
Yep.
border. So I mean, we could do it with anything. So
We did an article on non-traditional bird dogs a few years ago in
did you?
the Pheasants Forever magazine. Yeah, and it was really well taken. People reaching out like, "Oh, here's my non-traditional bird dog." Anything from like hell, like a Yorkie to
German
something else.
Shepherd
So
mix or
yeah,
something.
you can teach any dog to go after birds. It just depends
Right.
on what
But
level
then
you're
when
looking to go to.
if you decide to get another lab, then you've got that comparison ladder. Now you're like, oh no, or boy, I thought you'd be just as good as my other one, but
I
then the other
I
one's
don't
so
want.
good because you put so much time in the field with it. It's really what it is. You put time in the field with it.
We've got there's an upcoming article. I think it's in the dog issue here this summer. But it's about like dog personas, like
Yeah.
a lab, and like he's got this goofy look on his face and he's got a tennis ball in his mouth while he's trying to chase birds through the field. So people can look forward to that. It's just kind of all about personas that kind of come with certain breeds of dogs.
That's
So
that is almost crazy because I saw something on Instagram that made me start. I don't do a lot of writing, but I like being kind of, me, I like being a little sarcastic. And
mhm.
um, I started, I took what this person was doing. It was about people and what kind of drinks they like. Like if you're from here, you like this. And I wrote three of them down. It just came to me, and I want to make a list of all the dogs that are out there. And the three I got so far: Weimaraner equals a person who loves a challenge. Griffins, same thing, but they're always looking for a new brewery. Short hair, the guy that says, I'm going to hunt 120 days a year, but realizes he still has a job and a family.
Then you got Spinoni Italiano, which sounds like a drink in itself, right?
Right, right. Yeah, my next one will be Spinoni's and Bracco. Very nostalgic, quite often antique hunts a lot the rest of the year.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's right in line kind of with kind of this
What,
humorous side of
yeah,
dog
I can't wait to
personas.
see that one.
That's funny.
So where did you get this year? Just Minnesota, South Dakota?
Yeah, Minnesota, South Dakota for pheasants. I spent a lot of time in Northwest Wisconsin at our cabin hunting rough grouse and woodcock, and then obviously just a lot of deer hunting. My daughter shot her first deer this year, which was awesome.
Nice.
So I spent more. I think I spent more time doing that, which I love. And maybe a little less time spent on the prairie and pheasants. But I think by and large, when you look at like anecdotal stories and just people at work that are all dog fanatics and hunting fanatics,
Yeah.
and just things you see on the internet and anecdotal stories, I think all by and large, this pheasant season was a pretty special one.
Yeah.
You can start a little bit south, like you get into, Kansas. Kansas is still a bit down from where it's been. They lost a lot of their spring wheat cover, which hatched a ton of birds. So people are
Yeah.
always like, where are all the pheasants in Kansas? Where did they go? And it's like, well, they lost a lot of their nesting cover and it's been replaced by corn. So
Yeah.
we're working on some programs there right now to hopefully try to bring some of that back. But there was better bird hunting there than in the past few years. You work up
Yeah.
to Nebraska, Iowa. Both were pretty good. Iowa was really good. They celebrated their 100th pheasant season this year. And it'll be interesting to see, when they do the surveys and stuff. They were predicting to shoot upwards of I think it was 700,000 to 750,000 roosters. So like you're getting back up to, so maybe not.
You get close to that million mark again.
Yeah, you get close to that million mark. People are pretty happy with the bird hunting. So that's good. Minnesota was really solid. We had all this rain sort of during the nesting season. And after we came off a really solid winter, everybody was like, oh God, what's going to happen here? And magically the birds, you get a lot of nests that maybe wash out in that sort of first hatch, what people called, and they go and re-nest. And those re-nesting efforts are huge. So if you get good weather, end of June into July, that pays dividends. So Minnesota was way up. South Dakota was unbelievable.
Yeah.
For most accounts. North Dakota, the same. I think Montana was probably about even, depending on where you went and just the amount of moisture they received. Colorado, I heard some decent reports, especially from the northeast corner. So by and large, even Wisconsin, like I've got two of my coworkers in the communications department live and work over in Wisconsin, and they did pretty well this year, just focusing on sort of those western counties, Polk, St. Croix, and we've got some more land acquisitions coming up here shortly in some of those. But the pheasant population over there, the wild bird population was actually pretty good if you were willing to go out and work.
Yeah, so nobody's going to put Wisconsin in their like. I like if somebody said, where could I go that I haven't hunted pheasants before? I'd probably pick out Montana. It's like, if you want to take a long drive, I know there's some spots. I wouldn't think of Wisconsin having any, but
yeah. Well, here's here's a quick story for it. We've got sort of our youth chair in my local chapter lives in Woodbury, which is sort of a local Twin Cities town.
Yeah.
But he's from Western Wisconsin, and they they did some door knocking, which is sort of a lost art these days.
Right. Right.
And they found a really good piece of property that was really brushy, a lot of grass next to a I think it was a waterfall production area, and just went and asked the guy like, "Hey, do you mind late season after deer season? Could we come back and hunt this one time?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. Come on out after deer season. I would appreciate that." And they did their last hunt of the season there, I think on the last day, and they put up like almost a dozen roosters.
Nice.
Um, just
Yeah.
on that one property. So yeah, there's birds to be had in all these locales. So I think overall it was a great bird season. You got out to South Dakota, correct?
Yeah, it's funny. I took a trip in the spring to do a little training thing with a person who bred my wire-haired Vizsla, and went out there more like, hey, I'm retired. Why not go out there? And
Yep.
she was delivering some puppies to some new owners. And she said, hey, if you could come out here, it'd be great because, I like talking to everybody and doing all that stuff. And so I decided to drop south from Bismarck and start in South Dakota. I never drove that top, I think it's 18 or so. I can't remember the route, but I drove through, I took like an extra day and I drove through like all two laners. And this was in the springtime. So I've never been in South Dakota in the spring. I have no reason to be.
Probably Highway 12 going towards Aberdeen.
Maybe, yeah.
12. Yeah.
Well, it was east. I was working my way from the west to the east, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I'm telling you, Jared, it's like you didn't have to have a roadside survey count. I could have told. I didn't go 5 miles without seeing a pair of birds, and I
Yeah.
didn't know that I had it. The guy I was going to lived there his whole life. He says, "Oh yeah, we see that all the time in the spring. You see the rooster and a hen, rooster and a hen, rooster." I mean, I saw a rooster and a hen over and over and over and over and all the way across South Dakota. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, this is going to be a good season. I mean,
Yeah, those top like the northern 2 tiers of counties or 3 tiers of counties kind of almost all the way across South Dakota, because like on the western side, like in the northwest, you get into you've got like big national grasslands out there full of
yeah,
sharptail and pheasant and everything else, and you come across, you get close to the river. We just signed up a couple months ago. We did a 30,000 acre walk-in area there as part of our path program. Just signed that up,
wow.
like big chunk of habitat. Same thing. I think there's some Hungarian partridge on there too, but sharptails, pheasants,
Wow.
mule deer, like all sorts of stuff. And then you get across the river and you keep coming towards Aberdeen, where you've got the most public land in the state.
Yeah.
And just the sheer amount of pheasants that they have in some of those areas is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. My patron hunt that I usually do at a lodge, we decided to do a DIY it. We went to a new place and it was not where people normally go. Like it's basically eastern South Dakota, which most people are going to go a little more central, a little more north, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and these guys were hitting walking areas. I don't think they found any path areas. But they had if as my one friend had kind of guided them a little bit, he says, boy, if they pulled the gun to their shoulder a little quicker, they'd have limited out,
Mm-hmm.
really quick. They were finding birds all over the place. They
Yep.
really were. Yeah.
Yep, all the walk in there, the James River
Mhm.
crep,
Yeah.
waterfall production areas. We're trying to add more right now. They've actually got a Big Sioux River crep that they just added last year that we're putting acres into, and there's sort of a new buffer program that we wrote about. And now that's private, of course. They can enroll it and walk in. But if you
Yeah.
see if you see 100 foot wide buffer that just looks like bird hunting Valhalla, you might want to open up Onyx and go ask that landowner if you can hunt it, because our team's been seeing some pretty good returns on some of those areas.
How many, Jared? I mean, you may not know the number, and I don't want to put you on the spot. How many people at Pheasants Forever are just literally working on these access and these programs? Like, it's not two people, right? You got to have a
No,
squad
so
working on that.
in some of these western areas like Montana, Arizona, like in where you get out into like just bigger, huge 1,000 acres at a time, we've got actual access specialists that go out and try to like, hey, 50,000 acres behind you. Can we come up with a strategy here to pay you for an easement through that property so that, like, if it's landlocked or just not
Yeah.
accessible, access some of those. By and large, a lot of our biologists, especially in a place like South Dakota with the PATH program, Nebraska with a PATH program, Oklahoma with PATH, Michigan has a PATH program now, if you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I did not.
But a lot of our biologists, they work in tandem with like the state agencies and will help them sign up walk-in areas on top of like helping landowners design like a conservation program. It's one of those, hey, here's your conservation program plan. Oh, and did you know that you can get an extra X amount of acres through walk-in habitat? And if you sign it up for our PATH program, which might be adds another incentive on top, but it in some ways restricts a little bit of the land use to make sure that there's always habitat there when the birds need it and when hunters want to find it. Like, you start adding in these multiple layers, which we should do for access to private lands. They're able to service a landowner in sort of all those different ways.
Yeah, because that's like, it's almost like you guys are, your staff is like a bunch of hunters looking for a place to hunt, but you're kind of really looking for a place for us to hunt.
Pretty much. I mean,
you got to do cold calls. You literally,
yep.
You're not gonna, and I'm sure they have a little access to them through, biology, and if they live in the area, but you still got to approach this person and try to show them the benefit or the plus side of doing that. And it sounds like farmers and ranchers are at least receptive to some degree. You're not getting all no's. You're not getting.
They are. I think, you look at the current farm economy. It's not as robust as it was like a few years ago. And, a lot of times I was just out with a rancher in South Dakota a few weeks ago. It's like, hey, unless this area produces X amount of bushels, which it's not going to this year,
right.
I'm losing money.
Right.
And it's like, well, how about, we can help beat father time here until the farm economy comes back. We can help enroll you into a conservation program that is going to pay you for those acres. You don't have really the input costs that you would have on other things. And you develop, like, you went from, negative $100 an acre to a positive 125.
Yeah.
Most people don't argue with that. So it's our job to help landowners like meet that bottom line while also making sure they've got healthy soils and bountiful wildlife. Like, those are all things that our farm bill biologist team does.
Roughly how many people are at this, or at PF now, employee wise? Do you have
we've got, I just saw it the other day. We've got 638, and the majority of those are biologists and habitat specialists.
I've been to your office. There ain't enough room for 16 people at your office.
No, we're doing a little back to office stuff here in the fall. If people have never been there before, we actually own the whole building, and we sublease some of it out. One of our leasees left, and we decided, hey, like, we can have a extra area here for people to come back to work and have just more face-to-face time. So this fall we're gonna transition to that.
Yeah, because when I pulled up there, I'm like, this is the headquarters.
It's not very grand, is it?
No, it's like this. Yeah, you guys aren't wasting money on facades. Let me tell you.
Oh God, it's a bunch of cubes in a warehouse district, is what it is.
If I got that address, I was like, which one of these buildings needs a new conveyor? That's kind of place I used to pull up with my pickup truck. I'm like, this is their office. Boy, they are on a shoestring for an office.
I think there's more. There's probably more cheddar on the walls and like Terry Redland prints and stuff than there is invested in some of the office cubes and whatnot. But that's the beauty of Pheasants Forever, right? Like, we don't like spending money on that stuff. We like spending money on habitat, which is why we remain one of the top most efficient conservation groups in the country.
Well, and I always do this when I'm with your guys, or if I'm doing a thing with Rough Grouse Society. A couple months ago, when I was in Florida, I did a podcast with Marilyn, the CEO of Pheasants Forever, and Ben, the CEO of Rough Grouse. And I forgot the name of the guy with the prairie grouse. Gosh darn it, help me.
Ted
Cook.
Cook.
And the one thing that we all agreed on, and Marilyn made it clear too, the amount of people who harvest birds to go pheasant hunting versus the amount of people who are actually members of a conservation group.
Ugh, yeah, there's a big difference.
It's a flat tire, Jared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's less than 10%.
Oh, it's pitiful. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think the people that listen to shows like mine, or if you're loyal to another show, yeah, they're like, yeah, no, I'm going to join. But I would love somehow for people that like, I almost wish you could mandate it like a state stamp, like Michigan has a $25 pheasant stamp, right? And I almost wish you could mandate it, like, oh, you're going to go hunting. You're going to be a member of the group that's working on the habitat for you to. I know it won't happen, but it's sad that many people are like, I don't want to do that. A box of shells, right? A box of good bismuth costs more than a membership, and that's a little lopsided.
I think you're absolutely right. To some degree, let's take Minnesota, for instance, right? We've done over 500 land acquisitions in this state.
That's unbelievable.
And for people that come here and hunt, if you're hunting anywhere in southern, southwest, or western Minnesota, I guarantee you have hunted on or harvested a bird on a land acquisition that Pheasants Forever, like, came through Pheasants Forever's.
Right. You could maybe not say that in some spots of South Dakota, but in Minnesota.
No, and it's different in a lot of places where like North Dakota, like you need approval from the government there, from the governor before, like, moving forward with stuff, or Kansas is another one, right? Like you need certain approvals from the legislature, and those aren't handed out all the time. But by and large, we did a couple different land acquisitions in South Dakota this past year. Minnesota, like I said, just surpassed its 500th. We got a few coming up. Iowa, I think we did probably five or six here just this past year. Wisconsin's got some more coming up. We bought some land in Indiana, Ohio this past year.
Wow.
Missouri, we did a pretty nice land acquisition. So every state's got like their different funding mechanisms, and Minnesota, as we talked about at the top of the show, just happens to be like we have the one of the, if not the best funding mechanism for conservation in the country through Minnesotans that just love the outdoors.
Right. And you guys can do it almost like in a local thing without going to the state capitol to get permission. You can, it's
cool. Yep. That's not required here.
So. Wow. Well, and part of that now, how big, we're going to talk about Pheasant Fest because, it's kind of like everybody's season's over, but I'm not ready to stop talking about pheasant.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's extend it for you.
Let's extend it with a party. Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be, what do we got? It starts on the 20th of February.
Yep.
So
runs through the 22nd.
Right. Every year you guys put on more stages, more cooperative stuff. You're doing stuff there's a grouse camp. I love the fact that it's almost really not just Pheasant Fest anymore. Or I should say, it's not just pheasant centric. It's like a traveling wing shooters convention.
It really is. It's not necessary. I wouldn't even call it a trade show. It's like there's a trade show there, but it's mixed in with a convention with seminar series. And you're absolutely right. Like we try to focus on all these different birds. Like people ask, like, how are you guys connected to grouse? Well, for the longest time, Pheasants Forever has been one of the top players for sage grouse out west. I mean, we've delivered millions of acres for sage grouse. We've got this big project called the Bosch project going on in Idaho and in some of the surrounding states, where we're removing 600,000 acres of juniper or cedars and other regions, that's like the largest taking over pheasant habitat right now. It's one of the largest criminals that we have of pheasant and grouse habitat is trees taking over. So we're doing a lot of work there. But yeah, we extend out to multiple bird species, and then when you you do good things for pheasant and quail. I don't know if you want to call them a keystone species or not, but when you do good things for them, everything else benefits, whether it's songbirds. We do a lot of waterfowl habitat, especially in places
Oh my
like
gosh, yeah.
we buy a lot of waterfowl production areas, buy them and then turn them over to the feds to become a waterfowl production area. And like, duck hunters probably don't realize, like, we've done 25,000 acres of WPAs right here in Minnesota. So
Feel like duck
it's,
hunters should be like thanking you and joining.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and vice
and
versa
vice
too, right?
versa.
We
Yeah.
love the duck club, at Ducks Unlimited, as
Well,
well. But yeah, we do a ton of work.
and there's very few people. I mean, there's probably some, let's say, some guys my age that just go once a year and do what they do. But the younger crowd, your age, you guys are all chasing everything. And it's
Yeah.
great that it's so inclusive to have the habitat stages, the grouse camps, you guys were even giving kudos to the podcasters last year and this year. You're gonna
Oh
have
yeah,
the
I know you're on a stage with
I'm on the
Bob and others,
podcast.
aren't you?
Yeah, I was a little miffed last year when they didn't invite me. I think they just forgot that I was the OG, you know?
Yeah, you're on the Public Lands Pavilion at 2:30 on Friday, I think, correct?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, with Travis Frank and Bob St. Pierre and others. Yeah, so we've got a lot of seminar stages this year. We got the Public Lands Pavilion, which sort of pays homage to the country's 800 million acres of publicly accessible prairies, forests, and mountains. We've got the Bird Dog stage, which is obviously sort of a fan favorite every year.
yeah,
You got trainers there like Ronnie and Susanna Smith. We've got Dr. Ruth Ann Lobos, Dr. Seth Bynum, Jordan Horak, Tom Dawkin, Mike Wieben, like all these trainers that are just top notch. So if you want to learn anything about, whether it's training your dog in the uplands or training your dog to find antlers or
yeah,
anything about vet experiences, you can find that there. We got, back by popular demand, we got the Path to the Upland stage. If if you're new to hunting or just trying to, maybe you're reactivated and trying to get back into it, all
mhm,
the resources you could possibly need, you can find on that stage, which is pretty cool. We obviously have the habitat stage. And actually, I'm kind of happy. Myself and our local chapter president are going to be speaking on Friday and Saturday about making habitat in the city, because that's where our Pheasants Forever chapter is, and
yeah.
what we do to ensure that hunters have a place here, with good management. So anything about habitat, you can find that on the habitat stage. We've got our help area. If you're a landowner looking for food plot, seed, precision ag, finding a local farm bill biologist, they can write you a conservation program or plan on the spot. Habitat University, you're going to hear about that at Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic. It's this new free online series. Like, if you're looking to get into, how do herbicides work and how do I apply them to site prep for grasslands or food plots or whatever
Yeah.
it might be, we've got all that too. And then obviously Grouse Camp, which you mentioned, brings together all these different grouse organizations, with anything of how to hunt them to how to get your dog out of a trap to a whole bunch of other stuff. So
Yeah. So
pretty
what
cool.
you said earlier, like I said trade show. You're right, because I've been to trade shows and you just walk from booth to booth and you see what's new. This is it's kind of like a 3-day school almost, if you wanted to use
It
it,
is.
you know.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
the other thing I always want to tell people, Bird Dog Alley. Like, I don't know how many different breeds you'll have there this year, but and I know a lot of people use this. They're looking for their next dog, because everybody's like you and I were just talking about, what's your next dog going to be?
Yep.
There will be breed club representation for dozens of breeds.
I think we've got like 42 different breed clubs signed up right now. It might
Wow.
be the most we've ever had. And I know, like, similar to that, like the Bird Dog Parade kicks off National
Right.
Pheasant Fest and Quail
Yeah.
Classic. We haven't even marketed that yet, and we've got 34 breeds and 98 dogs signed up for it.
For the parade.
Yeah, and we're gonna market it here, I think, starting next week. Like, here's some of the breeds that we're missing from
Right.
this. We'd like to get that fully packed. But
Fill in the blanks. Yeah.
yeah, it's a spectacle, and I think it's going to be a fun year. Like I tell everybody, the Upland community is one of those that's just like really inviting. And whether you see somebody there once a year, or you meet somebody that like you're maybe friends with on Facebook or
Right.
Instagram or something else like
Yeah.
that. It's one of those places where like kind of lifelong friendships are made. I mean, I've met a lot of people and done hunting with a lot of people
Yeah.
because of Pheasant Fest. So yeah, I would just encourage people to come out. We also have for the third year in a row, we've got our concert for conservation.
Yeah.
Um, that happens on Thursday night, February 19th, and we've got less than 100 tickets available right now. It's going to sell out. So if people are interested in that, you can log on to Pheasant Fest.
You froze up on me.
And click on the Turnpike. Yeah.
Hold
Whoops.
on. Yeah,
Did I
you
freeze
just
up on
froze
you?
up. Yeah, go
Oh,
back. Tell everybody who's going to be playing and everything again.
yeah, we got Turnpike Troubadours this year. The past couple years, it raises $100,000 every year. It's a concert for conservation. It's a fundraiser. So come
Yeah.
out and join us. We got less than 100 tickets available, but you can go to pheasantfest.org and click on the Concert for Conservation tab. It's going to be a fun one. I will be at the merchandise booth selling posters and giving posters away. So be sure to stop by. But it's going to be a fun event.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's 6 friends of mine from South Dakota are going just because the Turnpike Troubadours are there. It's their
Yeah.
favorite. They're literally
Yep.
going. They're like, yeah, we're going this year because we want to see the concert. And of course, we're going to stay there and walk the floor for a few days too.
Yeah, it's nice. The Minneapolis Convention Center, it's all in one place. The skyways are there. The parking is all right there, and you can just take the skyway right over. So it's a pretty easy thing to get into. Plus, like the convention center, it's just one big mass. It's the largest convention center that we go to, just
Right.
because it's hard to go anywhere else when you have the amount of people coming through that we have. So it's all in one space. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's all kind of self-contained at the convention center, which is awesome.
And just for the newbie who's listening, thinking, "Oh, I haven't been there." I mean, one more little teaser for it is the vendors. There's a lot of people like I have a booth there. I'm just there to shake hands and say hi to people who listen to the show. And there's
Kiss
a lot of
babies.
people like, yeah, kiss babies, take pictures, sign a few autographs. But there is like all the premium upland gear and guns, those are there too. Like you could go to one of the like Mossberg or Beretta, or you can go there and you can hold the guns, feel the guns. It's even
Yep.
better than going to a gun shop because you've been to gun shops. You got to walk the aisle, you got to walk along, and then you got to get a hold of the guy and say, "Hey, can you grab that off the rack for?" And then there's always
Yeah.
that pressure of like, are you going to buy it or not? Well, you go to Pheasant
Yeah.
Fest and you can
Here
just
they
walk.
want you to hold them.
Right. They're like, yeah, just grab them. They're there to grab and pick
Yeah.
them up and like it's like a gun shop, a clothing it's like a Cabela's inside of an auto. It's got like there's nothing lacking there from
No.
boots to every I don't know what the other B word I'm looking for is.
Boots to birds to
But yeah.
there's beer there too if you want that.
There's
But
oh yeah.
we also got the youth village. So like if you want to bring the kids down, there's
Mhm.
all sorts of stuff for them to do, from shooting pellet guns and doing bows and arrows, to a fishing simulator, to like there's just all sorts of stuff for them, some habitat projects that they can work on and take home. So there's all sorts of stuff for kids to do. You can drop them off in that area and go walk around the show floor. And yeah, it's a cool event. As far as the shotguns go, I believe we've got 2 brand new shotguns that are going to be on display if hunters want to check those out. I can't remember the brands right now, so I'm not going to say it off the top of my head because I'll get it wrong. But I know there's one brand new auto loader coming out, and I think a over under as well. But yes, all the shotgun makers are there. All the latest and greatest gear is going to be there, and it's going to be a fun time. Most of our events are very close to being sold out. Like I said, the concert's within 100 tickets. Saturday night is within 100 tickets. That's a 1,300 person fundraiser with Dennis Anderson speaking, kind of telling the founding story of Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever, which is going to be pretty cool. There's tickets still available if you want to get in on the women on the wing luncheon that we have on Sunday. I know they're looking for more women that might want to get activated in the uplands, or if you just want to come check it out and learn about that program. That's always a fun one. So yeah, lots of different things going on throughout the show. And for any of the listeners out there, if whether you're a first timer or not, if you visit pheasantfest.org and click on the ticketing link, you can get up to 4 tickets for free if you use the code COMP, as in complimentary, COMP, COMP, capital letters 26, when you check out in the discount box. So there you go.
Get four floor passes, basically. Yeah.
Yep. You can come check it out for the day. I believe it includes a complimentary membership as well if you're thinking about taking the dive.
Well, they should be thinking about taking the dive.
They should be. Yeah. They should be.
Yeah. if there's nothing lacking there, but
no,
nothing lacking except bird season's over. That's the only thing lacking. So that's why.
Yeah. I got a call from a rancher buddy in South Dakota that said, "Hey, you should come out this weekend. It's going to be
this would be the last of the last, right?"
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's done. Is it done on Saturday? Yeah, I think on Saturday. He's like, it's going to be 20 degrees above zero instead of 40 degrees below, which it has been here for 2 weeks now. And I want to go, but I've got father-daughter ball this weekend. Can't miss that with the little ones. So.
What sport is this now? What kind of ball? There's soccer ball. There's basketball. There's
just a ball. Dinner, dancing.
Oh, ball. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy, aren't you the consummate father?
I'm looking forward to it. Get to take the little ones on a date with their dad. So I'm gonna have to spoil them. I guess that's what fathers are for.
That's right. I can't remember. Do you have two kids or one?
I've got two daughters. Yep.
2 daughters,
They're both rearing up to shoot a wild turkey here this spring, and they're my daughter is my oldest daughter, Grace, shot her first deer this year, and just like school, she's I don't want to brag, but she's like a straight A student, and she's taken she's in 6th grade and taking 7th grade math courses, but she's very calculated with school and the things that she does and her homework and her tests and stuff. And she's the same way in the woods. She's just constantly sitting there, just scanning the wood line. She's always in that ready position. And we work on this thing where like, okay, the deer's stepping out, I'm going to stop him. You ready? And I give him the old, the deer looks, and shoot him. And she's just,
you know what that's going to turn into when she's driving around someday, when she's got a driver's license, she's going to say, "Dad, I seen this really good-looking piece of property. We got to knock on the door."
Yeah, get us access, honey.
She's going to become. You're going to say, "What did I create?" That's what you're going to end up saying.
Well, I got him into the mode where, like, on the way to school every day, they're scanning the cattail sloughs and the neighbors' fields and stuff. And I get a field report daily. It's awesome.
Are you really? That's crazy.
Yeah, they saw a coyote last night. Or yesterday afternoon that was just sunning himself, and they're like, "Dad, there's a coyote out there. We might have to go out and go coyote hunting one of these days." And I'm like, "Well, it's -10 right now, but maybe next week, it looks pretty good."
Well, the desire there, the reality of how cold it is and how much work you're gonna have to do to make them comfortable is another story. But
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, yep. I enjoy the outdoors with the family. So
well,
that's what Pheasant Fest is about.
Yeah, it is, and you said it right. There are people that stop by my booth that have listened for years. Sometimes I got to ask them who they are again. I remember their face, but there's whatever it is, 10%, whatever the percentage is. There are people there going there just to bump into the same people, and just to feel like there's no place where you're going to feel more surrounded by like-minded people. Like
it's a community.
Yeah, if you went to a bowling conference this big, people would be guarding their averages and not wanting to like. But here you'll go to the people like man, if I just could shoot, I could hit more birds, or I got a good like. It's completely different than any other hobby, sport, or lifestyle.
And we can, with the whole shooting, we can help people with that there too. They got a simulator and everything else. So
you got it covered from A to Z. All right, Jared, I appreciate you coming on. I'm sure you guys you're getting ramped up here. It's got to be getting pretty busy. I know your job is different than Luke's job and different than Bob's job. How much does Pheasant Fest put on you, or is your job just always got a certain amount of?
No, this time of year is a lot. So
Got it.
I handle all the advertising for the show.
Yeah.
Which, I've got a budget for that. And yeah, the advertising side of it, finding out like, what radios are we going to go with? What local news broadcasts? Get involved
Yeah.
with the Minnesota Newspaper Association, put it out to all the
Yeah.
weekly and biweekly stuff. Outdoor news, Minnesota Star Tribune, and like advertising, and then doing like podcasts. I've got 5 of these that I'm doing
Right.
in the next week and a half here. So it does.
A few more hours a week.
Yeah, it's a labor of love, but at the end of the day, like I try to get as many people there as I can, because it really is, it's a spectacle. It's the community aspect of it, and then we've thrown in this concert for conservation sort of on the front end now. And it's one of those things, like it's a lot of work leading up to it, but like when we actually get there, I kind of get like, you get like that tingling sense when a rooster gets up, or you got a deer walking in that, scared the shit out of you, just walked straight out of a tangle of woods and you didn't see it coming. It's one of those, like I get excited to see people and hear their stories. And just, I've talked to a lot of people that are coming from, I've talked to in the past day, New York, Missouri, an individual out of Wyoming, and one out of Washington State. It's like they come from kind of all corners.
Oh yeah.
But my job specifically is try to win the home battle. Like I want to get as many people in there to see our vendors and hear their stories. And I do a lot of interviews and stuff in between all that.
So the you actually do, does PF and QF actually have like a commercial that will run on any of the local stations or like that or anything, or just more like interviews?
Yep, we've got a 30-second news ad, video ad, and we've also got radio ads, which 30-second and 15-second. We got one of the biggest stations in the Midwest here called K-Fan. And they've got a morning show and other stuff, and we do a lot of advertising through them because it hits a wide percentage of the market.
Well, I'll leave it with this. I appreciate you coming on. I know you, like you said, you're going to be doing this for the next 3 weeks until it's there. But if people still didn't get an idea of what we're trying to describe, I'd say most people in this country have probably been to a Cabela's, right?
Yep.
But if you can remember back to the first time you ever walked into a Cabela's and went like, "Oh my God," right? Like you see, you like, I didn't know sporting goods could be this big.
Yep.
That's what it's going to feel like when you walk into the convention center. You're going to be like, where do I go first? Like,
holy,
right? Like he wasn't kidding. They were kidding.
Yep. I would liken it to, like, everybody enjoys the Super Bowl and the commercials. We all agree the commercials, I think, used to be a lot better back in the day. But it's one of those things. It's like it's our Super Bowl for the Uplands, right? And it's something that we look forward to. And the commercial aspect of it is going to be like all those vendors and the people you see, like yourself and the Travis Franks and like all these podcasters and just industry professionals as a whole. We've got some cool stuff coming out from some of our sponsors too, where you can save money on the front end of Pheasant Fest, and you'll see all that on social. But it's just a really fun event if you're looking to get involved with community. Find your place in Pheasants Forever, whether that's being a member or sign up and be part of a chapter, whatever the case may be, or just finding your next gear, gadget, or dog, or whatever it might be.
Place to go. Anything.
Place to go. COMP, COMP, capital letters 26 at pheasantfest.org. You can put that code into the ticketing link for up to 4 tickets if you want to come and check it out.
Great. Jared, get back at it. Go get us, see if you can get us another, 100,000 acres or so by next fall to hunt around, which I'm sure you can.
We're gonna be trying. We'll get there, and make sure you don't pass me up when you're coming through to South Dakota this year.
All right.
I'll take you pheasant hunting right in the metro. I think you'll be surprised.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. I like it. Sounds good.
Cool. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jared.